You ever get the feeling this Dolphins season turned into some kind of mystery no one can solve? Because right now, man, the heat in Miami isn't just from the Florida sun. There's tension in the air, decisions being made that could reshape the franchise, and moves behind the scenes nobody saw coming. Some folks are saying it's the end of an era. Others think it's just the beginning of something bigger. Who's right? We'll find out together. You're not going to believe what's going on today. So get comfortable, hit that like button, and let's dive right in. They say every great team goes through turbulence. But what's happening with the Miami Dolphins in 2025 feels more like a Category 5 hurricane. And at the center of it all is one name: Tua Tagovailoa. Just a year ago, he was the face of hope for this franchise. Now he's the centerpiece of the biggest storm Miami's seen in decades. The contrast is wild. In 2024, he looked elite, pinpoint accuracy, total command of Mike McDaniel's offense. Fast forward 9 games, and the shine's gone. The city's patience is wearing thin. The numbers tell part of the story. 1,779 yards, 15 touchdowns, 11 picks. But it's the context that hits harder. Tua leads the league in interception rate, one every 4.1% of his throws. And if you've watched the games, you know it's not just about mechanics. It's bad reads, hesitation, rushed decisions. It feels like that massive deal he signed in 2024 changed something. The old calm, confident Tua now looks like a guy trying too hard to prove he still belongs. And in a league as unforgiving as the NFL, confidence only comes from winning. The Dolphins are sitting at 2-7. Then came the Week 9 bombshell, Chris Grier's firing. For years, he was the architect of this whole operation. Drafts, trades, roster building, everything pointed to Grier's vision of bringing Miami back to glory. Now he's gone, and what's left is a front office void and a salary cap that looks like a ticking time bomb. Tua's contract alone hits $56.4 million in 2026. If they cut him, that's $99.2 million in dead money. Even the league's top accountants would lose sleep over that number. But here's the twist. Ian Rappaport dropped a report that other teams are sniffing around. One of them, the New Orleans Saints. And it actually makes sense. McDaniel keeps saying he trusts his quarterback, but behind closed doors, the talk is different. Miami's listening to offers. If someone's willing to eat part of that deal, a trade's not impossible. Picture Tua in another uniform next season. Shocking. Yeah, but maybe a clean break for both sides. Meanwhile, the fan base is split right down the middle. Some say stick with him, trust the process, let the talent speak. Others are ready to tear it all down and start fresh. That's the big question right now. Do the Dolphins rebuild again, or just rediscover who they are? Because one thing's for sure, the season might already be lost, but the future's still on the line. And believe it or not, that's not even the craziest news of the day. There's movement at the bottom of the offensive depth chart, and this one caught a few folks off guard. Tanner Conner, the tight end who became a quiet fan favorite for his grit and work ethic, got released on Thursday. On the surface, it seems minor, but for those paying attention, it could mean something bigger. When a team starts trimming depth guys like this, it's usually a signal that a deeper rebuild's on the way. Conner was never a star. Undrafted out of Idaho State, he came in as a long shot, a project guy willing to do the dirty work. And for 2 seasons, he did exactly that. Effort, hustle, consistency. This year, he had 9 catches for just over 90 yards. But anyone who knows McDaniel's system understands that stats don't always tell the story. He was a role player, part of those fast-motion hybrid formations that define this offense. So why cut him now? Between the lines, it feels like a roster cleanse. McDaniel loves versatility, but that only works when each spot brings real impact. With cap pressure mounting and the offense struggling, it looks like the front office is trimming every bit of fat. You can feel that shift in the air. Releasing Conner could open a door for a young practice squad guy, or maybe even a future signing. Rumors, nothing official yet, suggest Miami's scouting athletic tight ends in free agency, especially ones who can open up short routes and take some heat. Off Tua, it's about reshaping the offense, making it unpredictable again, maybe even giving this team a new rhythm. Fans are reacting in every direction. Some think it's just a routine move. Others see it as the start of something much bigger. Because when a team sitting at 2-7 makes small cuts like this, it's often the first sign that the teardown has begun. And that's the irony. While Grier's firing and Tua's drama grab all the headlines, the real turning point might be happening quietly in moves like this. Connor's release won't trend on social media, but inside that locker room, it sends a message. No one's safe anymore. But hold up, because it gets even crazier. If you thought things were already wild in Miami, buckle up. The trade deadline chaos didn't spare the Dolphins either. While other teams were wheeling and dealing, Miami froze and analysts ripped them for it. ESPN's Don Orlovsky didn't hold back. He called the Dolphins the biggest losers of the trade deadline. Harsh, right? But what's behind that label actually says a lot about where this franchise's head is at right now. The only confirmed move? Yellen Phillips shipped to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 2026 third-round pick. That's it. Nothing else. For fans expecting a fire sale, names like Jalen Waddle, Bradley Chubb, even Minkah Fitzpatrick being moved, the silence hit hard. Orlovsky's point was clear. Miami should have faced reality. Except that this isn't the year. Stack draft capital and rebuild smart. But inside the locker room, there's a different tone. Players and coaches still believe this team's better than its record shows. A bunch of those losses came down 2 inches. Literally. That's how close it's been. And honestly, they've got a case. Even in this mess, there's talent everywhere. Hill, Waddle, Ramsey, Wilkins. When this roster clicks, they can still scare anybody. The problem is, time's running out. With Grier gone and Stephen Ross stepping in to oversee things personally, it feels like the team's caught between 2 realities. One where they're still fighting, and another where they know a reset's coming. That tension's bleeding into every decision, and every move, or lack of one, becomes headline material. Orlovsky might sound harsh, but plenty of fans agree with him. Some are wondering if McDaniel's still the right guy for this stage. Others think it's more about mindset, a team that refuses to admit the storm's hit and ends up sinking deeper. Maybe there's truth on both sides. Ross wrapped things up with a statement that left fans both hopeful and uneasy. There's a lot of work to be done to bring the Dolphins back to sustained success, and that work starts now. Sounds like a promise, but also a warning. The question is, will that work start soon enough before the window closes? So here we are. Between Tua's struggles, roster shakeups, front office uncertainty, the Miami Dolphins are standing at a crossroads. This could be the start of a rebuild, or the spark that reignites everything. Either way, this fan base never quits. Because being a Dolphin means believing, even when no one else does. Now tell me, do you still believe in this team? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and let's ride this wave further.